Okay, gold diggers, I feel, are actually something that exists in this world. And I don't mean the fake ones that, you know, for example, FouseyTube did back in his old times of faking pranks. Like, I mean legit gold diggers that want you for their money. And I'll never forget my first gold digger. But as we're talking about money, though, if you guys want to make some easy money and tired of going broke all the time, make sure you guys use today's sponsor, Salad. Salad is a crypto miner that uses your PC graphics card so you guys can do the devil's tango with the ladies. And not only that, but you're also able to get free Discord Nitro since they are partnered with Discord. So make sure you guys use the link down below and use code BUBBA to get double the money in your wallet while you're doing the devil's tango. Now back to the video. So I can't lie. Usually when I meet a girl, you start questioning, you know, what are their intentions and, you know, what, you know, they want with you and stuff like that. But I'm going to be honest, back in high school, that didn't really matter to me. Like, I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys when I say this. I was like the natural F-boy you would see in high school. Like, look at me. For God's sakes, does it not look like I would, you know, basically do anything that walks? I mean, at this point, from all the stories you guys heard, probably. Anyways, this story starts off in the theaters. So obviously, if you guys don't know, I had like this like friend group, and with this friend group, you know, the boys, we'll say, we usually like do things on the weekends together. Either that would be doing something really dumb on the street to even just going to a basic movie. And that's where this story starts off. Me and the boys were in the theaters together watching the newest Deadpool. I believe it was Deadpool 2, if I'm being totally exact, because this wasn't that long ago. This was 2018. And the movie came out, and I remember the boys wanted to go see the movie. So obviously, I got into my whip, aka the Silica. Like I always say in every video, I love that thing to death. And we got there and we sat down, and you know, we basically sat down getting ready for the movie. But as we sat there, we saw a large group of girls come in, and they were like, you know, very cute group of girls. Like they were hot. Okay, that's the main thing, honestly. Like, I want to say many chicks I've been with, I'm gonna be honest, like even though I may not have like the best standards at that time, most of the chicks were hot. Okay, and this one was. So just deal with it. Anyways, a large group of girls came in while we were sitting in the back of the theater doing our own thing, and the girls kind of wanted the back of the theater as well, so they went to like the very left side of the theater while we were like in the middle. And as we were sitting there getting ready to watch the movie and stuff, I just kept seeing these girls giggle, and one of them was like staring me down and stuff. And it wasn't a bad thing, like it was just a natural thing. Like I get it, you know, like I did look good that day. But then like the whole friend group started giggling, we started laughing, and then it just kept going back and forth of us just staring at each other. It was like my friend group would stare at them, and then their friend group would stare at us, and it's just a back and forth situation. So it got to the point where literally one of my like obnoxious friends were just like, yo, instead of staring, why don't you just come and join us? Now I'm not gonna lie, even though usually that would be like a power move in a way, it wasn't the move with these girls, at least not for me, at least. Like, don't get me wrong, some of these girls were really great and fantastic, but the one I ended up with was decent. Like, she wasn't ugly, but she was just a mood killer in a way. I remember as the movie started and we were just sitting there, we were all watching the movie, you know, I see all my guy friends just chilling, you know, hanging, like each with a girl, just chilling, hanging out, putting their arm around them. I remember like the chick I was with, like, you know, we were doing kind of the same thing, but she would always complain about life. Like, this girl talked about politics more than like, you know, probably my dad and the TV, which is a lot, by the way. And she was telling me how, like, you know, she's basically broke and how this generation is screwed and all this stuff. And honestly, like, I personally didn't care. I kind of just wanted to see Deadpool kill some bitches. But going on though, as we were just kind of hanging out, doing our own thing, and everyone was just kind of doing stuff, it got to the point where like all my friends were making out with their chicks, and I was just staring at mine and just hearing her complain and stuff about how, you know, she's basically broke. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what, like, screw it. So I just started making out with her and just doing that throughout the night. And as we just hit first base, I look beside me and I literally just see all my friends like literally like basically almost doing the devil's tango with them in the theater. Which is, I mean, it's a normal thing with, you know, it's the guys, like it's whatever. So as that was going on, I remember the movie was like, you know, almost halfway through, and this chick literally looks beside me. She's like, hey, do you want to do me a favor and like go buy some food for me? I'm kind of hungry. Obviously, I didn't say no. I didn't want to be that guy, because let's be real here, we did just make out for like a decent like 20 minutes. So I was like, screw it, like, okay, fine, I'll go buy you some food. So I went out of the theater, I picked up some snacks. Obviously, I picked up my favorite snack, Skittles, and I went back into the theater. When I got back in there, she was just like, you know, sitting there doing her own thing, and I was just, you know, going up to her, sat down, and as I sat down, she just took the snacks right away, and she's like, oh, I wish you got like better snacks, but this works too. Like, what? Like, be thankful I bought you snacks. And she didn't like Skittles. Like, what kind of chick doesn't like Skittles? If you're a chick that doesn't like Skittles, thumbs down. Okay, just no, like, automatic red flag for me, at least. So after the movie, things were all right. Like, I'm not gonna lie, things were okay. And I remember I was getting ready to leave with my guy friends. We were just all getting into our cars and leaving. But as I saw that, I saw like all the girls were like going to like the bus, and they were all going together, but this girl didn't want to take the bus that I was sitting with the movie with. She was like totally refusing it, and she's like, I don't want to go on the bus, like it's not really my vibe, like Bubba, can you like drive me instead? Obviously in my head, I'm like, do I really want to spend that gas money right now? Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fill my tank because the theater was close to my place, but I still drove because I love my car, like I say all the time. And I'm like, you know what, screw it, like that's fine. Me expecting she would pay gas money or something out of like being kind and stuff, she just full on said thanks and got in my car and just expected me to drive her all the way. So I did, and on the way she was like telling me me about like her life and everything, and how, you know, she doesn't want to get a job because there's no point and all this stuff. Like, she was just doing the basic complaints, and she would talk about, like, you know, how like she wished she had my car and everything. And at that point I was like, you know what, whatever. When I drove her to her place, I dropped her off, and she's asking me to hang out again the next day. And as I dropped her off, I remember she was like telling me how she wanted to hang out again, how she really liked me and stuff. And I remember her saying this specifically. She told me, so like, you know, whenever you're free, just kind of like come over and we can like go out to like the mall or something. For some reason, I don't know what it was. I guess I was like desperate in a way. I kind of just went with it and said, sure, why not? I'm down tomorrow. So we ended up going the next day, and what ended up happening was absurd. So the next day, I remember I picked her up and I took her to the mall, and we were just walking around the mall doing normal things. You know, it was just me and her, basic stuff. And I remember we went into one store, and she was like going and chilling, and you know, she was just looking at stuff and shoes. And then she saw these pair of Vans. Now these pair of Vans weren't like extremely amount of money. Like they were like 40 bucks, and I didn't really care. It was like a decent 40 bucks, and she was telling me like, oh, like I wish I had these pair of Vans. Like they're really cool. Like you would be such a good guy if you got them for me. And me in my head, I'm thinking, am I gonna end up doing the devil's tango with this girl if I buy these? That's like the only thing I was thinking. I know it's kind of bad, and if you're a woman and thinking, wow, this guy really just wanted her for the devil's tango, I mean, you're not wrong in a sense, but I'm different now. I just want to make that really clear before people on Twitter just start going like, oh my goodness, like he's just using girls for like I'm not, that's not the case. Anyways, though, I bought her the pair of Vans. You know, I was being nice to her and stuff, and honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, she had black Air Forces, and I'm gonna be honest, no girl looks good in black Air Forces. And then I got her those, and then as we were just chilling, walking around, I remember she kept going up to things and saying, you know, the same line over and over. She kept saying how, oh, I'd be such a good guy if you bought this for me. And it kept going and going to the point where I was like, you know what, like my wallet's in trouble if I hang out with this chick. And I realized that, like, I noticed red flags, and it got to the point where I was like, yeah, this girl's not even worth it. Like, no thanks. So I remember I pretended I had like a family emergency at home. So I pulled up my phone, put it up against my ear, and was like, oh, like, yeah, like I'm on the way. Like, I gotta go. So I literally said, like, I gotta leave. Sorry, family emergency. She's like, okay, like, just drop me off home. And obviously, you know, I brought her there, so I might as well bring her back. I drove her back home, and I drove back home myself. As I was home, I remember I was playing Xbox with the boys, you know, playing For Honor. If you guys play For Honor, I know most of you guys do. It's a really banger game. Only the real boys know. And as I was playing with them, hanging out, I was telling them about my experience and stuff, and they were telling me like, oh, that's tough, like that's gross and stuff like that. But then after that, my friend pulls out his phone, and he tells me, did you leave her at the mall? Obviously said no. I said, no, I dropped her off home. Like, what do you mean, did I leave her at the mall? And then he told me, well, her snap map still says she's in the mall, bro. At that point, I'm like, what? So I remember I got my keys, and I drove to the mall to see what was going on. And I saw she was hanging out with another guy wearing the Vans I bought her, and basically she was doing a shopping spree with this other guy. And at that point, I was like, damn, bro, like she's a hardcore gold digger. Like, this is actually it. So I remember what I did was I took a picture of her and this guy. I sent it to her as a snap, and I was like, huh, nice shoes. And I ended up leaving out of there being a total savage. And then she went on, you know, saying like, oh, like you wouldn't buy me this, so like you weren't really like the guy that was worth it. Apparently, like, she determines people by how much they have in their wallet. And at that point, even though it was like total heartbreak, I'm not gonna lie, guys, if you guys ever go for like a gold digger or anything that's, you know, a person that's not worth it, okay, gold diggers are naturally just a dangerous thing. Like, just if you don't have a lot in your wallet, I suggest you guys download Salad and actually maybe make some bank while you're AFK on your PC and use code BUBBA. But other than the sponsor, I'm not gonna lie, guys, just stay away from gold diggers. Not worth it. And like I always say, fall for more crazy stories. Peace.